Have you ever felt lost with Qiyana and you didn't really know what to do in the early, mid, or late game? Map rotations and the macro, generally speaking, are things that a lot of people struggle with. I'm here to change that and give you high impact concepts that you can use to level up your gameplay. Macro as a word isn't taught about enough, and especially not the concepts that you are using with Qiyana. After this video, you will be equipped with macro concepts for the early game, mid game, and the late game, and you will never feel lost again. Before we get started, I need to inform you about a very unique opportunity. On a daily basis, I am coaching people to make them improve at Qiyana. And the Discord server that I'm using for it is currently free for the first 200 members joining. It will be a paid community after those 200 members have joined, and currently there are roughly around 80 spots left, so make sure to secure your seat in the link down below. Let's first of all talk about the word macro in itself. What is macro? People talk about macro every day, macro here, macro there, but what is that? And honestly, I have a very broad definition of the word. In the end of the day, in League, you have time, and you can use that time to do something. And when we talk about macro, we refer to the things that we do, especially as map movements or things that we do on the League of Legends map that you can see right here. So the main question is, how can we use our time in a better way? And specifically, where should we be? That is, for me personally, what macro means. And that's exactly what we will talk about right now, starting with the early game. And we will start the early game section of it by taking a look at our first big reset that we are taking. I was able to bag a kill against this Malzahar, and I got my Tiamat. And now we are taking a reset, and we are preparing ourselves to come back into the lane. So the first main important thing that I always do after coming out of base is I press tab. I press tab to see what's going on the map. This is just a very quick thing, and this is called lull state usage. A lull state is a state where you are not really doing anything. You are walking to a lane, you are spending your time by basically doing nothing and just looking at the map. And you can use that time to gain information about the game, because that's what League is about in the first place. You want to gain information. And I'm always doing this. In this case, it doesn't really tell me much. All lanes are kind of equal. 1-for-1 top lane. Junglers are equal, right? So not much to say. But this is just generally speaking what I do. So I come back into the lane, and what I do is I bought Tiamat, especially against Malzahar, it's good, because I can permanently push waves. So as you can see, I'm starting to auto-attack this wave, and it's also very important that you attack the wave in a very specific way. So take a look at how I am pushing this wave. I'm auto-attacking it. I'm only auto-attacking it, I'm not using any abilities. And I'm really focusing down one minion at a time, so I'm not losing any XP. And then I use my Tiamat standing in the middle of the wave. I auto-attack again, and then I use an auto-attack Q to finish all the minions off. And now I want to talk about the first main concept that we have. So the first thing we talked about right here, the waves. You really need to push the wave in the most efficient way possible. And in this case, this means that you kill the backline minions in an instant, and that you push the wave as fast as possible. With Tiamat specifically, that's quite easy, as you just saw. Auto-attack the wave down, then use Tiamat in the middle of the wave, and then Q the wave in order to kill. This right here is a very important position. I just killed the wave, and most people that I coach up until Emerald, I'm not kidding here, stand in lane and do absolutely nothing. And this is the worst thing you can do. Whenever you manage to push the wave in, guys, what you have to do is you have to try to make something happen on the map. And that's what I refer to as roam timers. A roam doesn't have to end in a kill. A roam can mean basically anything. It can mean that you place a ward, it can mean that you clear a ward, it can mean that you just walk to your jungler to like see what he's doing and to maybe help him in case something is happening. You don't really need to have a specific goal for the roam. It's really just important that you do something. And now look what I do. I'm not standing in the lane. No, I'm grabbing ice, so I have more movement speed. I place a pink ward. I walk bot lane. And I walk back again. Why do I walk back? I walk back because I want to be in the middle of the lane when the waves meet. Look at this. And why? How did I know that I should be going back to the lane here? So take a look at this timer. And this is a timer I talk about a lot in my coachings. We currently have minute 44. 440, I can't talk anymore, apparently. What does this tell me? The next wave will meet in the mid lane at minute 5. So this gives us, you guessed it, 20 seconds to do something. So at around 52 right here, so minute 4:52, 53, I have to walk back into the lane because otherwise I would miss the wave here, right? So what I can do is I can walk bot, I can look for a roam, and then there's this point of return. And this point of return is most of the time right here. You take a look at the wave, you take a look at what's happening bot, and then you see, okay, I can't really do anything here, nothing is happening, I'm walking back. And it's really important that you walk back, because that makes it easy for you to be on the wave again, push it, and now look what I do. I walk into the area again, I place another ward because Malzahar cleared my pink. And now, look at the time. I am back at mid lane, exactly when the waves meet. And the waves meet at 5:30 now. There is a reason for this. The waves meet mid lane every 30 seconds. And you can fix your CS and your tempo in the early game easily by just looking at this one timer. Every 30 seconds, you need to be in lane in order to push the wave, to be there for it. If you are playing against a laner that is pushing the wave into you and you can't really do anything against it, that is fine. Let yourself get pushed in, and then what happens is you will still have some time to do something on the map. So he pushes the wave into you, you clear the wave under the tower, and then you probably still have 15 seconds left or 10 seconds left. And you need to do something with your time that you have. This means that you go top, go bot, ward, do something, right? It doesn't matter what you do, but make sure to do something. In this case, I decided that I want to play around my bot side. So I have a Varus, right? And Varus is quite strong if you get him ahead. And also Hecarim was bot side. So usually you want to drag your movement towards the side where your jungler is. It's pretty safe that way. And also it makes fights pretty easy because you are already grouped up. These are the two factors that you want to consider. Which side do you want to play around? And where's your jungler? So yeah, as you can see, I'm at the wave again. I'm pushing it again. And now I realize that my Hecarim wants to do grubs because he's pinging it. And my Karma is going top. So after I shove the wave, again, I have some time to do something. So look what I do. I have my R up. I know that I'm a level up on the enemy jungler. I just stand here. I look at the wave. And as soon as I realize I have to walk back, I walk back. And I communicate, I push mid first. So my team knows, okay, I'm going to push mid lane first before I am moving here. Look what I do. Efficiency, guys. I Tiamat in the middle of the wave. I hit the entire wave. I grab ice again. The reason why I grab ice is pretty simple. It's because I wanna use it to like walk into the river here. And now I realize a fight is happening. Malzahar can't really follow because of the wave. I'm helping my Hecarim do the grubs here. And then I see a small window where I can kill this Gnar. He just gets to mini Gnar. I ER him, so I E him with flash. I E flash and then Q him, so I can root him pretty quickly. Then I ult him into this wall, closer to my Hecarim, which is currently doing grabs. I use one auto, I grab ice again, and then I use auto attack Q with ignite, auto, and one more auto attack to kill. And look what happens. I come back to the lane and that I didn't lose a single minion. I won't lose a single minion here, guys. And the reason is because I am looking at this timer. And this is the last timer I want to talk about. Usually the wave meets at 6:30, right? In this case, that was also the fact. But if you want to extend the time on the map that you have in case something is happening like it did right here, you still have a bit more time. In this case, it's around 13 seconds. So 10 to 15 seconds. This means at a max, you can stay on the map and walk back here when we have 6:45. So let's actually say the wave meets in the middle of the lane at 5 minutes 30. You just killed the wave and now it's 5 minutes 40. So you took 10 seconds to kill the wave. This would mean that the waves meet in the middle of the lane again at 6:0. And you could be on the wave at 6:0 to push it again immediately. What you can also do is if a fight is happening and you want to take part, you can take a part of that fight. And then you have around 15 seconds more than that. So 6:15 to be back in the lane. So you have a bit more time to do something on the map. And that, guys, is the only early game macro concept that you need. There is really not much more to it. It's just about pushing, taking a look at this timer. And when you took a look at the timer, it's really important that you are at the wave again at the right time. And that will make it super easy for you to not lose any minions and to be prepared when something is happening. Let's talk about the mid game. When we talk about the mid game, guys, it's very, very important that you understand two main key concepts. The first one is that you go into the side lane, and the second one is that you walk into the mid lane, even though your bot lane is already there. The reason is quite simple. Your bot lane is going mid lane at some point. You should send them mid lane. And you will be going bot lane at some point to meet the enemy mid laner right there. Okay, So far, so good. The only thing is, there are two sides to this. If the enemy mid laner is pushing in the wave, right here, you have to go bot immediately to catch the wave. Otherwise, you're losing gold and you are losing experience bot lane. So that is the first main thing. If the mid laner is not bot lane just yet, and you can't see him, and the wave just got pushed in, for example, right? So the wave is right here or right here. You don't really need to go bot lane just yet. You don't have to catch the wave. So what you can do is you can make use of that time and make sure to do something else. And this is something I love doing. I walk into the mid lane, I chill here, and I do absolutely nothing. I just wait for something to happen. Maybe a fight happens, right? Maybe someone tries to collapse. Maybe the top laner is here. And if they are there and they don't expect you, they think this is a numbers advantage, then you show up and surprise, surprise, I'm here with my ult, right? So that's why you go mid lane, just in case something is happening. So that is the first example. And you can only do this if the wave is not pushed onto the tower just yet. If the enemy champion is starting to push the tower in, then you can start moving to the tower. Or if a fight is starting to break out, right? So a fight breaks out. If you would go bot right now, this would leave your team in an equal situation in a 4v4. But you actually want to have a 5v4. This is really good for you. So dropping one tower, if you can get something for it here, is almost always worth it as an assassin player specifically. So what you are doing is you are not going bot if that happens. You are staying, and that's the main reason why you are even walking mid lane in the first place, in case something happens, so you can be there. Your bot lane is currently here, your junglers are, I don't know, farming, and top laners are still top, right? What happens now is that you have to respond to the bot lane wave. So the enemy mid laner has just pushed you in, and you have to respond to the bot lane wave. What they will try to do is they will try to go mid lane, so now it's your job to ping this away. So they know that the enemy mid laner is coming. What you can then do yourself is you can push in the wave, and you can push in the next wave, and then the enemy mid laner has to respond. This is just back and forth, back and forth. And whenever you push in a wave, you create a pressure point. So now the pressure point is at this tower, and this pressure point makes it so you have time to do something. So you have enough time to do something until the wave meets this tower again. So what you can now do is you can push this wave in, and boom, you can walk mid lane and maybe try to collapse or make a play. Then if you realize the wave is getting pushed in, you move bot lane again. And so on and so on. And also, the side to which you go really depends on the objective that is up and also on the summoner spells that are up. So let's talk about summoner spells first. If you are running Ignite and Herald is up and you really want to contest Herald and your top laner has TP, you have to try to send your top laner bot and then you are side laning top lane. The reason is that the objective is top side. So if you are bot while Herald is top and the teams are starting to fight, which would be quite bad if you were bot, right? If this is the case and you cannot TP to the fight, you are kinda cooked, especially if your enemy laner has TP, because then it's a 5v4 and you are alone bot lane. Yes, you might get a tower for it, but you know, it's a bit of a flip. So that's not something you want. That's why you go top lane, you send your bot laner, your top laner bot, and this is how you then start to play the macro from then, right? So then this would kind of be the situation most of the time. The only reason is because you have Ignite, you don't have TP, so you kind of have to be here in order to be ready for the fight. If Dragon is up, it's the other way around, right? And if you have TP, you can be a bit more creative with it. You can decide to give objectives, take objectives, TP to the fight, be on either side that you want. And also the side lane depends on one more thing. So we talked about the summoner spell first and also about the objective that's coming up, right? The next thing the side lane that you go to depends on is quite simple. It's the enemy matchup. If you have to verse into someone that you really don't like not at all, man. If there is something like a Fiora or something, or maybe, I don't know, an Ornn where you cannot really do anything against, I would really try to avoid them. Or if someone is really fed, for example, a fed Irelia or something, you'd really want to avoid them onto the side lane. And you want to try to be on the opposite side of the map, okay? So those are the main concepts for the mid game, to be completely honest. We'll take a look at some real-life examples right now, starting off with this example right here. So look at this. I am running Qiyana here with TP, okay? And what I'm doing here is I am now typing to my bot lane, as you can see, in a moment. Me bot, go mid, right? And now what you can see is I'm pinging them away as well, and I'm pinging them to go mid lane. And what they are doing is they are going mid lane. So now I am bot lane alone, and my bot lane is going mid. I am now trying to shove in the wave, as you can see. I am running Profane, so I'm really fast with it. And I am still trying to go for this. And this is only something I can do with TP, guys. I'm going for this tower because I know I have TP. And I don't have ult right now anyway, so I don't need to be at this Herald fight. So what I'm doing now is I'm pushing in this tower. I'm starting to get it, and no one is actually responding to it. So we are shoving one more wave, and then apparently Heckrim arrives, which is, I don't know, kind of troll. And now I push in the wave. And I am starting to walk into the mid lane here. The reason why I didn't walk this way is because it was looking kind of risky with the Heckrim, and yeah, so I didn't really want to do that. So I kind of took the long route here, and I started walking into the mid lane, and then I realized nothing is really happening. So I stay bot, I push another wave, and then you can decide, do you want to run mid lane, or do you want to take a reset? And in this case specifically, guys, there is nothing to get. There is no objective up, nothing is up, and I have enough gold for my Hubris. So instead of going mid lane here, I would be getting my Hubris and then running back into the bot lane, into the side lane. So if Herald would be up, 100% guys, go mid lane, try to make a pick and then play for this Herald. We don't take a reset here, but nothing is up. There is nothing to do here. So instead of going for the objective here, which is not up, I take a reset. I walk back into the mid lane. And you could argue I made a mistake here, by the way. So what you can do right here, guys, is instead of going bot, you can easily go mid lane and do exactly what I told you. You can stay mid lane, think about, just chill, wait, see what's happening, and as soon as someone shows up and pushes this wave in, you move to the bot lane in order to catch the wave. Because if you are mid lane here and something happens with your Wukong and stuff, like they want to fight, for example, you are there, you are ready to go with your ult. And look what happens, by the way, and this is a mistake that I made. They actually did fight. Take a look at this. Imagine, and this is exactly what I'm saying, guys. Imagine I am right now mid lane and they start fighting and I have my ult up. And this is very, very, very big. I am now here and I can just one-shot this Kai'Sa, we win the fight, we can push down mid, we can get the tower, and the game is pretty much over from that point on. So it's just a missed opportunity. But instead I am on the side lane, and now I am trying to go for this fight. And also I take the wrong angle here. So I push the bot lane wave and then I try to move, which is just too late to the fight, right? So with Qiyana, it's really important that you are at the right place at the right time, okay? And that can mean that you give up a side lane wave. You just let the side lane wave be what it is, and just go mid lane, wait here, and then when someone comes and tries to push the wave in, you can then walk to the bot lane, right? So that's the main thing, and those are the two concepts. You either run to the side lane immediately, and because you have to catch the wave, or you go to the mid lane and kind of chill mid lane and just wait for something to happen until you have to run to the bot fight. So those are the two main concepts for the mid game, and now let's move on to the late game. Let's get to the late game. The main important thing with late game, guys, no matter for which champion, honestly, but also for Qiyana, for any champion, this is just league related generally speaking, you need to be pushing out the mid lane wave. Mid lane priority is the #1 priority. It's super important that you push out the mid lane wave first before doing anything else. Take a look at this example. I am walking mid lane here and I'm pinging my team really hard to push mid lane. Now I'm trying to get a pick onto the Jinx. I E onto the minion and I almost hit her by like, really it was super close. The only problem is now I don't have ult. If I kill the Jinx before the objective starts, it's worth it to use the R, obviously, because then they have no ADC and we win. The problem is I didn't hit her, so that was kind of a small flip. And now I can't really take this fight. So look what I do instead. And this is why mid lane push is so important. The enemy team completely abandons mid lane. And I was thinking about going for this fight, but then I realized Victor already killed the Swain. They probably win without me, and I don't have ult. Qiyana without ult is extremely useless. I can tell you that. Especially in high elos, if you have no R with Qiyana, you are not really doing much. So what I do instead is I push out mid lane priority, and I get the tower. And this could not happen if the enemy team would have pushed out the mid lane. So I get the tower here. My team wins the fight as well. And as you can see now, I'm really just trying to get out. My Leona ends up sacrificing for me. Rest in peace to her. And that's basically the first sequence that we need to talk about. Mid lane priority and why it is so important. Let's talk about a different situation that popped up, okay? So with Qiyana, sometimes it's better to give up mid lane and to go for the side lane. You know, there are always exceptions to the rule, and in this case, it makes more sense to be on the side lane. So let's break it down. My team is fighting mid, and while I could have TP'd, I don't have ult. And as I mentioned, Qiyana with ult is pretty bad, so it's a mismanagement by me. But what I can do instead is I can push out top lane, and I can just stay on the side. So instead of going mid here, I'd rather stay on the side, because my team already lost the fight. This means if I go to that fight, I will 100% die as well, and we get nothing for it. So I pretend to reset, as you can see. I pretend to reset. And then instead of going mid lane, I go top. There are two reasons for this. If I'm mid lane, I'm a sitting duck. Guys, I can do nothing here against 4 people pushing in the mid lane. So instead of going mid, I will just take the pings from my team. I don't really care. I know it's the better play to go top. So I go top. And oh yeah, and the second reason is we actually have 3 grubs. I'm Qiyana, I'm level 16, I'm super fat. So they need at least 2 people for me. And I can easily get this tower down in just a couple of moments, right? So as you can see, I push the wave in a very efficient way. And I just completely ignore what's happening mid lane. I just ignore it. I don't care. And then I realized that Echo is coming. And the thing is, if I kill this Echo, I have a free tower. So what I do is I flash combo him, which doesn't really work out. He uses flash. And then I just keep pushing in the wave, and I just take a reset. Pretty simple. And now I can take a reset myself, come back, and again try to push out the mid lane wave here with my Ezreal. So I walk mid lane. I'm taking a look at someone. Maybe someone is greeting here, and look what happens, guys. I ping my team in, and I see this beautiful angle here. So I try to kill the Karma. She uses flash, but it's fine. We get the mid lane push, and whenever you get the mid lane push like this, and this is why the push is so important, you can do stuff on the map. You can pressure this tower right now. The enemy team is stuck here. You can move into this area. We could be starting Baron. We could be chilling here. We could try to collapse onto their bot lane. We can do so much if this mid lane wave is pushed in. But there is no side lane to go to for me right now. It makes no sense to go top because pushing mid lane is just more important. And also, we can do a lot with this. So as you can see, we get the tower here. Viego dies for it though, which is, yeah, a bit sus, I would say. And after Viego dies, I realized that we cannot really contest this mid lane push anymore. So now we get to another example of why it's better to like go to the side lane sometimes. Since we cannot contest mid lane, I'm walking, like I'm kind of hovering, just seeing if something is happening. Because this tower is gone anyway, so I have time until this wave meets this tower before I have to go bot. So I have to run bot lane right now. Also because I thought that Zed would like face check this bush. So look what happens. He does face check. I use a QWEQ profane, kill the Zed, get another wave, and by the way, another time where pushing the side lane is much better. I could be walking mid lane, I could collapse on them. But at the same time, if I pressure this bot lane, this is very ugly for them. Because they are currently fighting mid, and pressuring this bot lane is actually quite nice. As you can see, I'm spamming my team to push out mid lane again, mid lane prio as mentioned. And I TP top lane. So my Mordekaiser pushes top, pushes mid. I push top. And what we can easily do right now is with these 2 waves pushing in, so with the 2 side lane waves pushing in, we can now walk into this jungle and do whatever the fuck we want. We can do Baron, we can ward, we can try to make a pick, we can do whatever. And then I told my team to just ignore the dragon, but they didn't really listen. They still wanted to do the dragon. And while the top lane wave is pushed in, this means that someone will try to respond to it, right? So as soon as I realize that no one is responding, look what I can do. I can stay top. And now I can even see that Echo is going there. So everyone is bot side. And I can just chunk these towers. As mentioned, I have 3 grubs. And it's super easy for me to do stuff here. And now they have to reset. And I mean, going for this inhib is actually a bit greedy. I could have just walked back immediately, right? But now look what I can do. And this is what we call shift. So I push top lane. I kill the tower. They respond. And after that, I walk mid lane, I push mid lane, which will make them respond at this tower again. And then I can walk into this area, and there are always 2 people here caught up, catching the wave, while I can move into the area here. So this is just a perfect example of why pushing waves late game is just so important. And that, guys, is how you slowly win games. I will repeat it again, okay? You need to push in the mid lane, then you try to make plays with your team together. So you try to invade after pushing out the wave. But it's really important that you wait for someone to respond. So as soon as you see someone on the tower, then is the time where you can like decide to go invade, do stuff, whatever, and try to make something happen. That way you will get picks, that way you will get objectives, and that way you will be able to kill towers. And with killing towers, you will be able to kill the Nexus at the end of the day. Simply because your lead is really big, and killing a lot of towers will make it so the waves always go to the base, right? So that is pretty cool. And that is how you win games at the end of the day. Those are all the macro concepts that I want to talk about today. That is all I know about macro with Qiyana currently. I might be even a better player, even a better coach in the future. I'm working on it, and if something actually comes into this topic, I will obviously make an updated video about it. So yeah, check out the link in the description, as I mentioned, guys. A couple of free seats are still there, not too many though, so be quick. And I hope to see you in the next video. Have a wonderful evening, and yeah, I love you guys. Thanks a lot for supporting. Peace out.